big up. So why is it always us, our players always get injured on internationals, for fuck's sake, no other clubs? Well, listen, this is what we're going to get into. So, whoa, who would have thought, man? Who would have thought? Gabriel Magalhaes. But, yeah, listen, we're going to get into that. Obviously, I just got back just now. And I'll tell you now, this weather, man, this weather is a killer. Like, I think today's probably one of the coldest days it's been this year. But, yeah, man, winter's well and truly here now. And obviously, yeah, people better make sure you wrap up warm, man, because it's not a joke out there. But, so, yeah, as I said, man, it's getting serious now with this weather. So, as you can see, man, I still got my coat on, man. It's bloody cold. But, yeah, listen, man, big up yourselves at each and every time for coming through. And as always, guys, make sure you're smashing the like button. Make sure you're subbing to the channel. And make sure you share the channel as well. Obviously, when you share the channel, it helps it reach more people. So, as I said, if you just smash that like button, you know, it goes a long way, guys. So, yeah, big up yourselves. And we're going to get into some things. Obviously, we're going to discuss the Jude Bellingham one in a bit. And obviously, this is going to be quite a heated one. So, strap in, put your seatbelts on, and get ready for the conversation. Because, again, there's a lot of things that's been said, you know, which, you know, I'm going to give my response to. And to be fair, like, you know, it might be a bit of a surprising one, but it is what it is. Big up to Barbara Joseph each and every time. Big up to Fitz as well. Big up. Yeah, man, I'm all good, man. I'm all good. Yeah, today's a cold day, man. So, as I said, man, from now on, man, better be wrapping up warm. Because it's, the temperature's just getting cold now, man. So, but yeah, no, apart from that, I'm all good, man. Literally just got back home now. I got boxing in a little bit. Well, I say a little bit, in about a couple of hours' time. So, I thought, you know what, let me just jump on and give you guys some content. But, yeah, we're going to start off with Gabriel Magalhaes out for Arsenal for 2 months, between 1 and 2 months. Big up to Daniela as well. So, yeah, Gabriel Magalhaes out for 1 to 2 months. And I think, from what I see earlier today, I think he's missing 16 games, you know, and again, that is a lot of games to be missing, man. A lot of games to be missing. You know, Arsenal's crucial defender. You know, it's actually quite mad how we was looking at William Saliba as the main defender, and then now obviously Gabriel has well and truly become the key man for Arsenal at the back. You know, I like Urian Timber as well. Urian Timber is very reliable, very good right back. Obviously, is a centre back by trade as well. But Gabriel Magalhaes, there's no denying, man, that he is the main defender for Arsenal. And the fact that he's missing 16 games, again, we're now going to see what Arsenal have got, because Mosquito will be coming in. You've got, obviously, Hincapié as well. Calafiori is actually a centre-back, but I think Arteta likes to play him left-back. So, again, man, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Arsenal do. And starting with Tottenham on the weekend, I think, is it on Sunday, the Tottenham game? Arsenal-Tottenham. That's going to be a massive test for Arsenal, obviously, at the Emirates. But if you're thinking that Gabriel's out, you know, I did see some news today, though, that they got quite a few players that are back in training and could be in the squad. I think Odegaard, Martinelli, and a few others. I can't remember the names, but I think Kai Havertz and Gyökeres, I think they're back into the squad. So, again, losing Gabriel might be, well, it's a massive miss. But then if you're getting back those players, you know, it might be seen as a bit of a positive. But I'm not going to shy away from anything. That Arsenal losing Gabriel, you know, arguably along with Matthias de Ligt, the two best centre-backs, not only in the league, but in Europe. And again, I think we can safely say now with Gabriel's injury, Matthias de Ligt is the best defender in the world now. You know, there was a little bit of back and forth, you know, with a few Arsenal fans saying Gabriel, but I don't think we can say Gabriel's not the best. De Ligt's not the best right now as he's currently fit. So, yeah, man, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But let's go through the games anyway that Gabriel's going to be missing. Obviously out with a thigh injury, 16 matches. And again, they got possible FA Cup third round and Carabao Cup semi-final if they get past Crystal Palace. So the league games that Gabriel will be missing, and again, these are big games for him to be missing, in my opinion. So Tottenham obviously on the weekend at home, and then sandwiched in between the Bayern Munich Champions League game, they've got Chelsea away. Now, I think those 3 games there are crucial for Arsenal. And I think if Arsenal don't pick up any positive results in them 3 games, all of a sudden, you know, it's looking a bit shaky. And that could be the loss of 1 defender. So, yeah, Tottenham at home. I think Tottenham at home, I think the fact Gabriel is missing, I think you have to look at Tottenham going into that game as, you know, confident, in a confident mood, thinking that they can at least get a point away at Arsenal, you know. And I think I said a draw before. I'm going to keep with the draw. So I think Tottenham get a point. And I said that before the game, you know. But the fact that Gabriel's out, you know, I'm going to say that they get a point. I know Tottenham haven't been good, but I think away from home, they've been very good. So I reckon they'll get a point away from home. Obviously, the Bayern Munich game's a massive game. You know, I think, they're the top 2 at the moment in the Champions League. At home against Bayern, you know, Harry Kane scoring goals galore for Bayern Munich and for England as well. And the fact that Gabriel's missing is going to be a massive miss for them, because you would have thought Gabriel up against Harry Kane would have been a great battle, you know. I think Harry Kane right now will be licking his lips, man, at another couple of goals against Arsenal, you know. Even though Saliba's there, but I think Gabriel's the one that can get stuck in to someone like a Harry Kane. And obviously the Chelsea game away, that's going to be a massive game for Arsenal, because if Arsenal don't get a win against Tottenham, and let's say they lose against Bayern Munich, going into that Chelsea game away from home, you know, Chelsea, obviously London derby as well, Chelsea will be thinking to themselves, we can take advantage of the fact that Gabriel's not there and at least, you know, try and get a win, in my opinion. So that's going to be a good game. And then you got Club Brugge away. I mean, away from home against Club Brugge won't be easy, but I think depending on the Bayern Munich result, I think you'd expect Arsenal to go to Club Brugge and at least win that game, you know, but it won't be easy. And then they got Brentford at home. Again, Brentford are not an easy team. I think if Brentford were playing at Brentford's ground, I'd say Arsenal will be lucky to get a draw there, because Brentford at home, they're no joke, you know what I mean? So, but the fact that Arsenal are at home, who knows, man? They should win that. But again, Brentford have proven this season, man, that they're no sort of pushovers, and they got some threats in their attack, man. You think of Igor Jesus, and you think of Kevin Schade, you know, 2 players, man, that are scoring goals for their team, you know, and they got Damsgaard in midfield. What's the guy they signed from Bournemouth? Dango Utara. You know, the replacement for Mbeumo. So they're going well, man. So that's going to be tough. And then they got Aston Villa away. So again, man, this running in the league, Tottenham, Chelsea, Brentford and Aston Villa. I think if you're an Arsenal fan, you know, if Arsenal was to get 7 points from 4 games, you know, I would say Arsenal done very well there, because that's 4 tricky games, I would say, you know. North London derby, London derby, Brentford at home, as we know, will be tough. And then a tough game away to Aston Villa. So, again, man, the fact that Gabriel's missing 16 games and those 4 league games are in there, it's going to be a problem for them, man. But again, they've bought reinforcements in the summer. So, it depends to see what they kind of do on that front. This is where your squad comes into it now. And then they got Wolves at home. I mean, Wolves ain't won a game this season yet. I think by the time Wolves play Arsenal, you know, you probably expect Wolves to win a game at least, you know what I mean? But I think you'd expect Arsenal at home to put Wolves away, man. You know, I don't think Wolves are going to stay up this season. You know, they're struggling, man. 2 points from 11 games is shocking, to be honest with you, man. So we'll have to wait and see what they do there. Crystal Palace in the Carabao Cup. you know. And I said this will be Arsenal's game, which they'll find tough in terms of getting through this round, because I think Palace. I'm gonna say Palace might play a stronger team than what Arsenal will. I think depending on what Arsenal do in the league and the Champions League, I'll be very interested to see what kind of team they play. But I think Palace will play a strong team, but I don't think Arsenal will. I think Arsenal might play, you know, a changed up team, and I think if they do that, I think Palace will go through. You know, Everton away. Again, that won't be easy. You know, Everton in their new stadium. You know, they've got Jack Grealish. You know, they've got Iliman NDI. Two players that can cause problems for Arsenal. You know, you got Beto as well. Even that, what's the guy? The guy they bought from Villarreal. Forgot his name. Is it Thierry something? Them guys can be a handful up top. So, yeah, man, that won't be easy. And then you got Brighton at home for Arsenal. And again, Brighton are one of them teams, man. You know, you can't sleep on Brighton because they will cause problems as well. And then Aston Villa in the return fixture at home. And then Liverpool as well at home. So Gabriel potentially is missing Tottenham, Chelsea, Brentford, Aston Villa, Wolves, Everton, Brighton, the return game with Aston Villa, and Liverpool at home. So he's potentially missing all those games, plus the 2 Champions League games, Bayern Munich and Club Brugge, and then the Carabao Cup game against Palace. Yeah. So I'll tell you now, it's going to be a test for Arsenal, man. So we're going to actually see, you know, if the money that was spent in the summer by Arteta has proven to be good use, because they're not good games for, you know, your best defender to be missing. So yeah, man, it's crazy. Two Brothers says, yo, this year, what was the best goal? I don't know, man. What? Give me a list of the goals, man, and I can tell you. Give me a list of the goals. I can't remember. Yo, hey guys, I have one random but deep question. I mean, what is your happiness and what makes you happy right now? What makes me happy right now in this moment is talking on camera about football. So that's what makes me happy, man. But yeah, not a bad question, man. Not a bad question. So yeah, guys, let me know what you think about Gabriel. Do you think Arsenal get through those 16 games with Gabriel not playing? Because if I'm looking at it right now, you know, I think we can kiss goodnight to their set pieces, because he was the main threat in the box from aerially. Obviously, Declan Rice and Bukayo Saka from the corners, but Gabriel was the main guy in the air. So I don't know how they're going to adjust their game plan with Gabriel obviously not being there. You know, obviously they're going to bring in Mosquera, you know, or they're going to bring in, got Hincapié there as well. And these are the times they're going to need them defenders to see what they can do. Obviously, Hincapié's first season in the Premier League, you know, same with Mosquera. Mosquera actually done well when he come on for Saliba against Liverpool. But I think the fact that Gabriel's a leader there and he's the one that's missing, can Mosquera, you know, fill the void, you know, and we're now gonna see, man, what happens. But yeah, it's gonna be massive, man, a massive miss for Arsenal. And I think the fact that Gabriel, as I said, you know, is an aerial threat in both boxes. The fact that, you know, if you look at the Newcastle game, where, if we're being honest, he should have been sent off there. But if we're looking at that and we're looking at the fact that he has been, as I said, one of the best defenders, not just in this league, but I would say in Europe this season, you know, that's going to be a massive miss for Arsenal, man. And as I said, I don't know what Arsenal do from here and now, man, to try and fill that void. It's going to be interesting to see. But as I said, man, yeah, he's a massive player for them to miss. But yeah, that's something that Arsenal got to figure out. And there's no good place to start, man, with the North London derby on Sunday. So yeah, I'll be watching that, man. And let's see what happens, because I'll tell you now, Man City are, what, 4 points behind Arsenal now? And I think Man City, if I'm right, Man City, I believe, are playing... I think they might be playing about, what, 3 games in a row before Arsenal. So again, this will be putting the pressure onto Arsenal, to see if they can respond to Man City's results. Again, Man City are going to Newcastle on the weekend, so that won't be easy. But, yeah, they'll be fancying their chances after what they've done to Liverpool, man. So, yeah. But, yeah, listen, 11 games into the season, no international break now to disrupt. So now we're going to see what's really going on with these teams. So, let's see what happens. But, yeah, guys, listen, we're going to move on anyway because, again, I heard some news on Jude Bellingham, and, again, Jude Bellingham is someone that does divide opinion. You've got people that rate him highly. As I've said to you guys before, I've had friends that have told me potentially better than Zidane. Absolute ridiculous comments there. I've had people say, he's a number 10. I've had people say that he's one of the best players in the world. I've had people say he's England's most talented player. I've heard all this nonsense that I've heard, yeah. And as you can see, if you're new in here as well, you're probably obviously guessing now that I'm not a Jude Bellingham fan, and for good reason. So for me, obviously, I just say what I see. I don't go with the majority opinion, unlike many. And with someone like Jude Bellingham, I've never really rated him as a player. Never rated him. I've always saw Jude Bellingham as someone. He's got the physicality in terms of the powerful running, and he runs all day. But the way that he's been put into conversations like he's the best thing that England's ever seen, it just shows you that the level's either gone down or people are just not watching football anymore and just listening to pundits and to the media. Yeah. So, again, there's a couple of things that I want to touch on. Yeah, because a couple of things that was said, and I happened to watch TalkSport the other day, and there was a caller that come on and mentioned something, which I'm gonna touch on. I can't remember the whole conversation, but I'm gonna touch on something which he was trying to allude to. Yeah, and again, we're gonna touch on Ian Wright's comments as well, because Ian Wright is someone that I grew up watching, and I remember, if you're an Arsenal fan, Ian Wright had the video, rewriting the record, and I actually bought that because as a finisher, Ian Wright was, no doubt, was one of England's best strikers and one of England's best finishers. But what I have to say, when it comes to footballing opinion, everyone's free to it. But when it comes to just talk, some of these pundits you just can't listen to. And Ian Wright's one of them because, I'm going to read out some of the things that Ian Wright said. Yeah? So he's mentioned about Jude Bellingham. And again, a lot of you have probably heard the comments anyway, but I'm just going to give my reaction to it. So, as always, if you're enjoying the content, guys, and you agree with what I say, or if you don't, smash the like button, sub to the channel, and share the channel as well. So, Ian Wright mentioned about the media agenda. Yeah? So, he said, the media are trying to create this kind of, in quotations, beef, because there is nothing to discuss until the World Cup. Now, me personally, yeah, I've never been a fan of the media. I've spoken about this so many times. The media are the biggest problem when it comes to football, because what the media do is that if there's a player that's liked by a lot of the pundits or just liked in football, the media give them good PR. And then if there's players that, that are deemed to be, whether it's flamboyant, sulky, or whatever the case may be, the media do a very good job of criticising. This country has a very good habit of hyping you up to then push you down, to then pull you down. I've seen it so many times. If I'm looking at the likes of Paul Pogba, the likes of Anthony Martial, the media have done a very good job in ridiculing these players and tarnishing their careers so that the majority can just... that don't really watch the game or don't really have an interest, will just think negatively of them players. And I'm someone that's been talking about this for time in terms of Manchester United, the football club. I've always said there's a problem with black players at Manchester United in terms of the fan base. You know, in terms of Paul Pogba being racially abused, Anthony Martial the same. And then you look at Fred, you know, Fred was racially abused. You know, he was called shit. And then now we've got Manuel Ugarte, who can't even light a torch to Fred. And nothing gets said about Manuel Ugarte. Why is that? Yeah. Then you look at Marcus Rashford. Yeah. These fans were loving off Rashford because Rashford's from Wivenshaw. Then they actually realised that he was actually black. Because the thing for me is that Rashford was getting away with things because it was Martial and Pogba who were the scapegoats. You know, Martial being black, the same as Pogba, and both of them being French. And then until Marcus Rashford got that new contract and the fan base actually realised that Rashford wasn't as good as what they thought he was, it's open season on Rashford. They now actually realise that, you know, he's someone that we can criticise now. But he was getting protected because he's from Wivenshaw in Manchester. Then you look at the likes of Jadon Sancho. Again, Sancho coming from London. We know how, you know, up north, they're not too fond of Londoners anyway, you know. But Jadon Sancho was ridiculed as well by the fan base, by the media, you know, the attitude, this and that. I mean, these people have never met him really, but yet they're calling attitude. So when it comes to black players, how they're portrayed in the media, you know, I'm one of the first ones to stick up for black players and you know, and have my say, because again, I've been someone that's been talking about these things for time. You know, you think of Raheem Sterling as well. You know, they mentioned that he's got a gun tattoo on his leg. You know, even when, was it the World Cup or the Euros? You know, it was Raheem Sterling that was getting England through the rounds. And then Harry Kane gets a goal. And then who do you see on the back pages? Harry Kane. Yeah, so all these things, you know, I have been aware of for time. And all these things, as I said, man, I've never shied away from. But what I have to say, from what Ian Wright has mentioned in regards to the media are trying to create this kind of beef with Jude Bellingham, this is something that I highly disagree with. Because what I would say, yeah, is that Jude Bellingham, ever since he come onto the scene, is a media darling. Yeah, I mentioned, you know, he's light skinned, he's got the sharp hairline, you know, he's very marketable. It's the PR, and I've mentioned this time and time again. So when Ian Wright is saying they're trying to create this kind of beef, I disagree, because what I believe and what I knew from the start anyway is that Jude Bellingham's mask is slipping. And when I say his mask is slipping, is because this country have built Jude Bellingham to a level that he was never on. You know, the amount of overhypement that this player has got, it's like people now are starting to see, you know, that really have been watching football a bit more regularly, are starting to see that this guy, his attitude stinks, and the fact that this guy ain't that good, you know. But he's always been this kind of player. He has never been the level of player that a lot of these fans actually think he is, and a lot of the opinions are coming from others. They're coming from pundits. They're coming from commentary. Again, I mentioned the other day, Lee Dixon. Yeah, Lee Dixon was overdoing it with the praise for Bellingham. Bellingham come off that pitch against. He come onto the pitch against Serbia, and he was poor. I watched the whole game. He was poor. But anything that he did, it could just be like a basic pass, you know, or get a ricochet, whatever it may have been. Lee Dixon was just hyping it up, and the reason Lee Dixon was doing that is because he's trying to throw Bellingham in our faces, because he knows that Bellingham is under pressure for his place. So if you keep trying to hype someone up, you know, you're just putting this player in people's faces, so you can't ignore them. You know, it's very obvious what he was doing. So for me, the fact that the media are getting onto Jude Bellingham now is because, in my opinion, his mask is starting to slip. So you're actually starting to see that this player is not as good as what many have tried to make him out to be. You know? So again, I can't stand the media. You know, there's a lot of pundits that I can't stand either, because a lot of them are working on an agenda. But what I would say is that Ian Wright for me is wrong in terms of the media trying to create some sort of beef between Jude Bellingham and everyone else. I don't agree with that, because at the end of the day, it's all well and good when, you know, all the praise is coming Bellingham's way. But as soon as Bellingham gets taken off now, because you have to realise, yeah, Bellingham's been built up in a way that he can do no wrong. So if you're looking at the fact that Bellingham is now starting to come off for England, that wasn't happening last year. Because under Gareth Southgate made Jude Bellingham indispensable along with Harry Kane. You know? And there was comments the other day that I said about, that Tim Sherwood said. You know, they treat Jude Bellingham gets treated like he's a superstar of England when he's not. The only reason people think he's a superstar is because he's playing for Real Madrid. But I'm going to tell you this again. He's at Real Madrid because of PR, not because of how good of a footballer he is. I'd argue that with anyone. PR is what has got him to Real Madrid, not his ability. Yeah, so again, the fact that Gareth Southgate is the one really that set a precedence for Jude Bellingham to think that he's invincible. The fact that Thomas Tuchel now, and I rate Tuchel what he's doing, the fact that Tuchel's come in and he's basically making Bellingham work for his place, and you can tell that he doesn't rate Bellingham as highly as what the majority do, yeah? It's good management, because Bellingham now knows that he needs to start showing up and start showing that, you know, that he can be considered. Because for me, if I'm Thomas Tuchel, I'm not taking him to the World Cup, because the number 10 position, which he's not even a number 10 anyway, there's players that are actual number 10s and that play better in that position. You know? So again, when Ian Wright's saying that there's a media agenda or they're trying to create a beef between Bellingham and the media, it's an absolute lie. And again, I'm someone that's first and foremost, when it comes to race, you know, how black players are treated in the media, I'm the first one to say, you know what, that's not right. But on this Jude Bellingham one, it's not true. It's not true. And there's more comments, guys, that I want to go into. Then he said the targeted criticism is because they can't negatively influence his club career. Now, again, I don't agree with that, because why would the media need to negatively influence his club career? Because the British media, you know, they would want to see a Jude Bellingham thriving at Real Madrid, because it means it helps the national team. So again, when you're getting Ian Wright saying that the media want to negatively impact his club career, what benefit would the media have by negatively impacting Jude Bellingham's club career at Real Madrid? That doesn't make any sense, because if Jude Bellingham is doing well for Real Madrid, and then comes back and does well for England, it'll be better for the British media, surely. Yeah? At all. You're not forced to be here. So if you don't like my opinion, fuck off. It's as simple as that. You're not forced to be here, man. I don't give a damn if you don't agree with my opinion. My opinion's my opinion. You found me, not the other way around. So if you don't agree with the opinion, fuck off. It's as simple as that. I ain't got time for it. You know what I mean? You're not forced to be here. So, yeah, going back to what I'm saying. Yeah, I don't understand why the media, yeah, why the media would have a problem in Jude Bellingham. Why would they want to impact his club career? Like, it doesn't really make sense. Doesn't make no sense. So yeah, that was a bit odd for Ian Wright to come out with that. And again, Ian Wright for me has got the wrong end of the stick. I think it's quite clear that Ian Wright rates Jude Bellingham highly, but I don't believe Ian Wright. I don't think Ian Wright really understands what he's saying there, because when it was Raheem Sterling, I agreed, yep. But this Jude Bellingham thing, I don't agree with, because, as I said, the media were at the forefront of hyping up Jude Bellingham, and all of a sudden now, as I keep saying, his mask has slipped, and all of a sudden now it's cool to criticize Bellingham. There seems to be a problem. You know, if people open their eyes from the start, you would have seen that Jude Bellingham was a problem in the first place. You know, the fact that when he's coming off against Albania, he's got his hands up in the air. And again, people are gonna say he's unhappy at coming off. Again, if you're coming off the pitch, you are going to be unhappy. But you have to look at it from Jude Bellingham's point of view. This is a guy that has been, ever since he come onto the scene, he's been number one for England along with Harry Kane. And Thomas Tuchel's the first manager that has let him know that, one, you're not starting the game, and two, you're going to come off. And Bellingham, you can see, is not used to that because he's used to getting his own way. And that was a precedence that was set by Gareth Southgate, you know. So again, for me, touching on Ian Wright's points, the media agenda, trying to create a beef, I don't agree with. I think he's way off on that one. And again, I'm someone that can't stand the media. So I have no kind of horse in the race in a sense to back the media. I think the media are a massive problem. But on this subject, I don't agree that the media are trying to create a beef with Bellingham. I just think they're reacting to what Bellingham's done. And the fact that it's Jude Bellingham, because I guarantee this now, yeah, if it was, let's say for argument's sake, it was Reece James, just a random player I'm picking out, would Ian Wright come out and say the media are trying to create a beef against Reece James? I very much doubt it. It's because of the way that Bellingham is in terms of his passion, in terms of the hype that he gets. This is why it's been made a problem. But to allude to what Ian Wright's saying about the beef and the targeted criticism for club career, I disagree with that. And then again, the past comparisons with Raheem Sterling that we've already touched on. So again, you know, I disagree. You know, I've given you examples about Raheem Sterling. You know, Raheem Sterling at a point was one of England's best players. Like, no one can deny that. You know, he was instrumental. I think it was the Euros in getting England as far as they got to. You know, and as I said, when Harry Kane scored, I believe against, was it Sweden or something like that in one of the qualifying rounds, all you see on the back pages was Harry Kane. And you can't tell me that it wasn't what we already know. So again, the media have done a bad job in trying to, they've done a very good job, should I say, in trying to paint Raheem Sterling as this kind of person, you know. But when it comes to the comparison that Ian Wright's trying to make with Bellingham, again, he's wide off the mark, man. I don't think there's any comparison with Bellingham and with Raheem Sterling. Bellingham is loved in this country by the majority, not by me, but by the majority. So again, man, I just don't agree with what Ian Wright's saying there. You know, I just don't agree with what Ian Wright's saying there because, as I said, the pundits, the commentators, the media, they're the ones that are responsible for hyping up Jude Bellingham. You know, and then obviously a lot of fans have got on board with it as well. And again, you know, I'm someone that doesn't rate Jude Bellingham. I've never rated him. You know, and I just don't. The thing is with Jude Bellingham, with me, as I mentioned before, I've seen too many good players throughout my life of watching football to be rating a player like that. That's the honest truth. You know, a lot of the players that rate Jude Bellingham, in my opinion, you know, you're probably from the ages of 16 to about 24, 25. I think they're the ones that will rate Jude Bellingham because the chances are you probably haven't really seen top players. And that ain't your fault, but that is what it is. For me, you're never going to get me rating someone like that because he's probably, and again, people think he's a number 10 as well, which is laughable. But he's one of the most scruffiest players I've ever seen. He's one of the most scruffiest, overhyped players that I've seen on the ball. You know, I had people telling me that Jude Bellingham's a dribbler. Like, this is what people are doing now. They think he's a dribbler. Like, it's a disgrace to football. But as I said, man, Ian Wright's comments are wide off the mark, man. But moving on, as I said, I don't watch TalkSport, but I happened to just have TalkSport on yesterday. And this is what made me wanted to react to the Ian Wright debate. Because there was a caller that come on, and again, you know, I'm one of the first people to say if a player's getting criticised due to race, I'm always one that's going to stand up for that because you Yeah, listen, no one watches Talk Shy, of course, but I happened to have it on my phone when I was driving yesterday, and I see a caller come in, and he was talking to, I think, to Simon Jordan, and he mentioned that this is one thing that I disagree with, by the way, because again, I'm someone when it comes to race, I'll be at the forefront if I can see a player is getting racially abused or there's racial undertones from the media. But this caller called in and said it's racially motivated when it comes to Jude Bellingham. Again, I disagree with that. It's not racially motivated when it comes to Bellingham. It's nothing to do with that. As I said, Jude Bellingham is kind of being found out, and rather than people just admit that he's not as good as they thought, as they first thought, or that the mask is slipping in terms of, you've got a manager in Thomas Tuchel now that is more or less holding him accountable, holding him to standards that if he is this kind of player that people think he is, let's see what he's got. And I think the fact of the matter is, especially with how things are in this world anyway, a lot of people have the same opinions, and it's like, if you say something against Jude Bellingham, it's like the whole world's come crashing down. People want to defend it straight away. It's very odd how people think like that, personally. But as I said, I'm someone that's going to have my own opinion, and I'm just going to say what I got to say. Like, I don't care if you like Bellingham, I don't care if you don't like him. And a day, I'm just going to call what I see. But this caller mentioned race, and again, it's nothing to do with race when in regards to Jude Bellingham. It's nothing to do with that. As I said, Jude Bellingham is just being held accountable for his performances and for his attitude. But his attitude has always been there. I don't think people should be surprised that when he's throwing his hands up. I've mentioned this to you guys a couple of times. Just have a look at the Serbia game when they played Serbia in the Euros. I've mentioned this on my streams plenty of times. If you watch what Bellingham does, he's very, I say he's clever, but he's very good at manipulating the fans. When he punches the ground at frustration, if he loses the ball or gets booked or misses a chance, this feeds into the average fan that thinks he's a passion merchant. But really, he's feeding into you, so that when he does get criticised, a lot of players are going to jump on his defence because basically he's got you on side. Like that's basically what it comes down to. I've been aware of this for time. He does that. Bruno Fernandes does that. Just watch what these guys do from a passion point of view. When they miss a chance, they kick the post or punch the ground or start G'ing up to the fans. Like, these things are very... they're not even clever, but they're just things that these guys do to get fans on side, And as I said, I've always been aware to that anyway, Right, let's get some of your comments in and your questions. Big up, guys. Let me know what you think. You might disagree with me, and that's what it's about, having that dialogue to see where you guys stand with it. But as I said, I don't agree with what Ian Wright said in regards to the media, the beef with Bellingham. So, yeah, that's something that I had to talk about. And again, the TalkSport caller, when he mentioned race, it's nothing to do with race for me, man. No way. So, man even walks onto the pitch like Zidane. Yeah, it's an absolute joke, isn't it? You know what I mean? The only relatable thing that he has with Zidane is that he wears the same shirt number. That's it. Everything else, let's forget that. Let's forget that. So Talash says, what team do you support? Manchester United. Man United supporter, but I also like Barcelona as well. Big up to Fitz says, it's a shame some great players become pundits and destroy their credibility. Yeah, great comment, man. It's the majority of them, unfortunately. I mean, the only pundits I like listening to, really, is and it's not a lot. It's Henry, Van Persie. Who else is there? Trying to think who else. Daniel Sturridge. I think Sturridge has got sense. I can't remember if there's any more. I can't remember. But put it this way, there's not a lot of pundits that I listen to, because a lot of pundits are just running on an agenda, you know. And you know what it is as well? I think a lot of people do themselves a disservice, because a lot of people think because these players are ex-professionals, they actually know what's going on. You know, a lot of these players are actually scripted for a start, yeah? And a lot of them just drive an agenda because of what's fashionable in the media, you know? And as I said, just my years of playing, watching, coaching, and just consuming football, you know, I'm never going to let any pundit tell me what I don't see. Do you know what I mean? So again, don't ever think that these pundits know more than you a lot of the time, because they don't. A lot of these guys are just scripted, or they're just being pushed on what to talk about. Because if you actually break down the game to a lot of these pundits, they ain't got a clue what's going on. And that's the actual truth. You know what I mean? That's the actual truth. So yeah, man, a lot of them, their credibility does go down because they ain't got a clue, man. That's why do you think a lot of them are pundits anyway, really? A lot of them are failed managers, you know? So there's no chance Bellingham doesn't go. But again, I've already said that Bellingham's going to go to the World Cup. And he's not going to go to the World Cup, in my opinion, because he deserves to go. It's because of the media fanfare around him. Because Thomas Tuchel, and I would rate Tuchel if he turned around and just said, look, I'm not taking Bellingham because he's got better options and he's not rating his attitude. But again, the next squad that gets chosen is in March. So if he doesn't choose Bellingham in that squad, you know, best believe there's going to be a lot of criticism coming his way. So, you know, that might play on his mind to think, you know what, I've got to take Bellingham. But for me, I'd rate him if Bellingham's not showing any form. If he doesn't take him, I'd rate it a lot. But the chances are he's going to go. But the big question is he going to start? This is the thing. And mark my words right now, and I'll stick by this, you know. If England start with Jude Bellingham in this World Cup, yeah, England ain't doing too much. I guarantee you that now. Because they're going to play him in the 10 when he's not a 10. And the only thing that they can rely on for him playing in that position is him to box crash. But when they play against the best teams, you're going to quickly see how much of a liability this player is. So, you've heard it here first, guys. Henderson better not go. Henderson will go. Henderson will go. I guarantee you Henderson goes. Henderson's going to go for his experience. Because if you look at the experienced players in the squad, you've got Jordan Pickford, John Stones, Jordan Henderson, Harry Kane. So right down the spine of the team, they're the four most experienced players that England have. So, and all four of them are going to go. So, yeah, if you're thinking, guys, bear me 1 minute. Bear me 1 minute. Yeah, so if you think that Henderson won't go, Henderson's definitely going. I can put money on it. Again, if you guys watched our stream on Monday with myself, Jonas, and Fitz, you know, we done our certain guaranteed starters for England in the first game at the World Cup. Jordan Pickford, possibly John Stones, depending on his fitness, Declan Rice, and Harry Kane. Them four for me are definite starters for England. But Jordan Henderson's a definite in the squad because of his experience. So, yeah, he'll be there, 100%. Guys, come on, let's smash the like button. Sub to the channel if you're new as well. Again, if you smash the like button, it helps the channel to be seen by more people. You know, we've had some heated debates, obviously, on here today in regards to Jude Bellingham. Again, if you might not agree with me, or even if you do, let me know. If England picked players based purely on position, taking 2 of each position and 3 experienced players like Henderson, Bellingham doesn't go. Again, Bellingham's the one player in the squad that is going to go based on PR, not because he deserves to go. Because if you're looking at playing him as a number 10, which he's not, look at the amount of options that England have to play in that number 10 role. You know, some of them are either natural number 10s or they're just better in that position. But he's going to go because of the fanfare behind him. Because could you imagine, you know, the squad gets announced and Bellingham's name's not there? You know, these pundits, the likes of Ian Wright, you know, the media as well, that Ian Wright said that are against Jude Bellingham, and fans, they'll be doing the most, trying to put pressure onto Thomas Tuchel. So again, Bellingham is going to go purely based on PR and criticism, not because he actually deserves to go. Taking Henderson would be a total fuck up. Well, he's going to go, man. Get used to it. He's definitely going to go. I guarantee you. I can tell you now he's going to go. If he stays fit, he's going. Because I believe England take 4 midfielders and Henderson will be one of them. Declan Rice will be one of them. And that means you've got Elliot Anderson right now who's definitely going. So that means there's 1 space for midfield left. And then you're going to have the likes of Adam Walton, Alex Scott probably. You know, he might be an outside chance. Kobbie Mainoo again, outside chance. And what's his name? Probably someone like Conor Gallagher. Like, them guys are going to be battling for the 4th place. But I can guarantee you now, the 3 midfielders that are definitely going, the definite 2 are Henderson and Rice. And then Elliot Anderson's put himself firmly in there as well, if he can stay fit and maintain his form. So there's one midfield place up for grabs. So this I'm trying to say to you. You know, people think Foden's going to go. You know, I'll tell you now, I don't think Foden's going. You know, not because Foden's not good enough to go, because for me, Foden does go. But you have to look at the fact that Thomas Tuchel is saying Foden can play as a false 9. That's more or less telling you that he's not really going. Because if you're thinking it's a 25-man squad and they've got all those attacking midfielders that they've got to somehow fit in, you know, Phil Foden's not really even playing in his favourite position. So how does he get in? Because for Man City, he's playing central midfield right now. You know, if he plays him in the 10, again, you've got other players that are playing in the 10. Again, we just mentioned Bellingham. So again, Phil Foden for me, based on ability, should be going, but I don't think he goes because you look at Saka, who's definitely going to go if he stays fit on the right. Cole Palmer for me, if he gets his fitness back, will go. You know, Eze for me will go. Then you've got Rashford and Anthony Gordon. You'd expect both of them to go as the left-wing options. And then you've got guys like Morgan Rogers, again, who's starting under Tuchel right now. And then you've got the likes of Gibbs White vying for a place in the squad. As I said, Foden, you know, Bellingham. So, yeah, there's loads of ifs, buts, or maybes, man, who's going to go. But I think if you're thinking Henderson won't go, I think you need to park that one. He's definitely going to go. The very fact that Henderson's in the squad still will let you know that he's going to be around for the World Cup because of his experience. So I hope Harry Kane actually turns up in this tournament. Yeah, me too, man. Me too. Because I think Harry Kane, for me, is a top striker, man. There's no denying his ability, his quality, and his goals. But the one thing that's leveled against Harry Kane is that when it comes to proving it in the big games, whether that's internationally or club-wise against the best teams, you know, he very rarely shows up. So, again, there's no doubt he's going to go down as possibly England's greatest ever striker, for me anyway. You know, Robbie Fowler has to be up there as well. Robbie Fowler was class. Michael Owen in that as well. But if he somehow takes England to a World Cup or Bayern Munich to a Champions League, there'll be no denying Harry Kane, man. It wouldn't be, you know. I don't see how you can't rate Bellingham based on ability. Again, what is Bellingham's ability? Like, when people say these things, yeah, tell me his ability. Because if you think Jude Bellingham's got a lot of ability, and again, it's your opinion, but I just don't agree with that because, again, if we're looking at based on England, who's more talented than Jude Bellingham, I mean, I can read off a list of names. Cole Palmer's more talented. You can arguably say Bukayo Saka's more talented. I'm talking about attacking midfielders or wide players. So Cole Palmer, definitely. You can say Bukayo Saka. Phil Foden's more talented. Eze's more talented. I mean, Jack Grealish, we're not even talking about, is more talented. Who should be in the England squad? Rashford's more talented. Anthony Gordon is probably a bit equal, you know. Gibbs White is more talented than him. So again, like, if you want to talk about Bellingham and his ability, tell me his ability. Tell me what you think his ability is, because I can guarantee you now I know exactly what you're going to go to. And this is the part of the problem. But tell me what his ability is, because this is what people do a lot of the time. They just say, like, he's got ability, but then when I ask what's his ability, there's no answer. So again, big up to Brian Risso. If you think he's got ability, let us know what you think his abilities are. You know? So I think when he's on the pitch, he's one of the few players consistently putting in an effort on both attacking and defending. Big up to Brian Risso, but again, that's not telling us what his ability is. That's just your opinion and just putting words together. But tell us what you think his ability is. That's what I want to know. And again, yeah, put me in the England shirt and I'll run around. Yeah, but this is what I'm trying to say to you. So when he's on the pitch, he's consistently putting in an effort on both attacking and defending. So again, we're going back to effort. Effort's not really an ability from a standpoint, you know. Effort is what everyone should be doing. So again, let's see what you mean about ability. I'm gonna go through some of the questions and comments anyway. Big up to Chris and Mark. Yeah, listen, I'd rather Kobe over Henderson, but whether we like it or not, Henderson's gonna go. Like I'm telling you this now, Jordan Henderson's in that England squad, whether we like it or not. The fact that Henderson's back in the Premier League and he's playing regularly for Brentford, the fact that he's experienced, the fact that he's the vice captain as well, he's gonna go. So again, Kobe Mino will be in there all day long for me, but the reality is Henderson's gonna be there, whether we like it or not. So that's just something we gotta get with, you know what I mean? So Bellingham is a decent central midfielder, but he hasn't got the mentality to understand he's not the centre of the universe. Proper big head, haha. I agree. I mean, as a central midfielder in a free, that's Bellingham's best position. You know, in a box-to-box in a free is where he would be a lot better. But in a two, for me, he can't play in a two unless he's got someone that is a pure ball player and they allow him to just box crash. In a free, as I said, he can play in a free, being that box-to-box midfielder. But as a 10, where you need to have special qualities, he hasn't got that. You know, and to go on to he thinks he's the centre of the universe, I agree. And that's what's happened. That's why you're getting him, you know, hands up in the air, believing that he can't come off, because that's what's been created around him. So so Brian says, I want Bowen to go, but I'm biased. Yeah, listen, Jared Bowen's a very good player, man. He's a very good player, and he should be going. So again, that's another player I forgot to mention. Yeah, but Brian, we're still waiting for you to say about Bellingham's ability. I wanna know why you rate Bellingham's ability. At least I know that we're getting somewhere, because a lot of people, from when they talk about Jude Bellingham, They just use quotes. They don't actually tell us what he's good at. You know what I mean? It's just because the thing that you mentioned was effort. Effort's nothing to do with his actual ability, really. So I want to know why you think he's a top footballer, if you do think that. Yeah, big up to DXR, man. Big up, my guy. Big up. I'm all good, man. I'm all good. Yeah, man. I'm glad you're back as well, man. Big up yourself. Guys, I'm going to go for another couple of minutes. I have to shoot. Big up to John Mitch as well. So, guys, yeah, let us know. And, Brian, I'm waiting for you to let us know about Jude Bellingham's ability. Again, if you rate Jude Bellingham, tell us why you rate Jude Bellingham. Tell me why you think he's good. Based on a technical standpoint, tell me why you think he's good. Tell me why you think he's good. Yeah, big up DXR, man. 2K subs target, 100, yeah. So we're literally about just under 300. Just under 300, I think. I think we're on what? 1.7K, I think, yeah. So yeah, let us know why you think Bellingham's good. So we're chatting about football. Jude Bellingham plays football. Gav, which team you see winning the Champions League this season? Good question. It's difficult. I said Barcelona this season. I said Barcelona. But you know what? I think this could be the most open Champions League for a while. Yeah, but Bayern are looking strong. I don't think Bayern will get over the line though, but they are looking strong. I'm gonna stick with either Barcelona or PSG. I'm still gonna say either one of them two. You know, but again, it is open. Yeah, I think it's definitely gonna be one of them two. But again, there's still a long way to go, man. You know, it's what is it, 3 or 4 games into 3 or 4 games into the Champions League. So when is Arsenal gonna start bottling it? Well, listen, you know, obviously if you join us, if you haven't seen the stream from earlier, or on this, if you haven't seen this stream from when I started, you know, Gabriel out for between 1 and 2 months, potentially missing 16 games. You know, so listen, man, this is where you're gonna see what Arsenal have got, man, because missing their key defender. Now, Arsenal not winning no Premier League this season. They're not, man. I've said it from the start. They're not winning no Premier League. That's Man City. Man City win the league. Man City win the league. Ever since Pep got back with his wife, you know, and the way that they brought in Pep Linders as well to play a bit more vertical. Listen, City are gonna do it, man. Want to bet? I ain't got a bet, man. Save your money, but City will win it. Nah, City win it. Trust me, City win it. City win it, 100%. I got no doubt. The fact that City are now 4 points behind, and City play before Arsenal, I think, for the next 3 games. You know, the pressure is going to be on Arsenal to maintain. So, as I said, man, I think City win it, man. I'll tell you one thing though. If Arsenal was to win it, which they won't, They would have definitely deserved it. But yeah, listen, I'm going for City. But don't count out Liverpool as well. I know Liverpool have been poor, but you know, all it takes is for a few teams to put a couple of wins in a row, and you're gonna quickly see, man, that they're gonna shoot up the table. But it's a long way to go, man. 11 games. I'm just glad the football's back now. You know. Yeah, I'm just glad. But guys, listen up. I'm gonna have to shoot now anyway. Boxing's calling me. So yeah, listen, big up yourselves for coming on each and every time. As always, if you haven't smashed the like button, make sure you do. Obviously, smashing that like button helps the channel to be seen by more people. And as always, make sure you share the channel as well. And if you haven't subbed, make sure you sub. Okay, as I said, I think we're just under 300 short of 2K subs. So again, these algorithms have been messing up lately as well. So yeah, it's madness. But it's madness. But yeah, as I said, make sure you sub. Make sure you smash the like button as well. And as I said, tomorrow, Thursday, should be back tomorrow. Not sure what time yet. But as always, keep an eye on the notifications and to see when I go live. And yeah, man, just building up to the weekend football. Manchester United obviously playing Everton at home. Obviously got the North London derby. City playing Newcastle. Some big games, man, and we'll be here. And obviously got Champions League returning as well the following week. So yeah, man, some big football. We're trying to get in some watch-alongs as well. So yeah, big up yourselves each and every time. Big up to all the mods. Big up to all the newcomers as well. And yeah, 100%, guys. I'll catch you guys in a bit. Take it easy.